It started with a splash, a sudden icy shock running down her back. The black woman gasped, turning to see the restaurant's white manager standing there, empty pitcher in hand, smirking. No explanation, no apology, just the weight of humiliation, pressing down in front of an entire room of silent onlookers. It should have been a simple lunch, a quiet break from a busy day. Instead, it became the moment her dignity was drenched alongside her clothes. What she didn't know was that the man, waiting to meet her, was about to change everything. Watch until the end. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Amara was no stranger to hard work. A respected corporate attorney, she navigated the high-pressure world of legal battles with grace and skill. Her days were long, her schedule relentless, but she valued every moment she could spend outside the office. That day, she chose a small, upscale restaurant downtown, somewhere quiet to enjoy a rare, peaceful lunch before meeting her husband for an afternoon charity event. She wore her favorite navy dress, her hair pinned neatly, her mind already drifting to the evening ahead. The room buzzed with quiet conversation, polished glasses catching the light. She didn't notice the stares from the corner table, the subtle glances exchanged by staff. For Amara, it was just another day, until footsteps approached from behind. In that instant, her world shifted from calm to chaos, and she would find herself at the center of a storm she never asked for. The first sign that something was wrong came as a shadow fell across her table. Before she could turn, the shock of cold water cascaded down her shoulders, seeping into her dress, soaking her skin. She froze, her mind racing between disbelief and anger. The manager, a tall white man with a rigid stance, stood over her, his lips curled in what could only be described as disdain. No words of apology came. Instead, he muttered something about accidents happen before walking away, leaving her drenched and trembling. Patrons looked on, some whispering, others avoiding eye contact altogether. Amara's hands shook as she reached for a napkin, but the thin paper only smeared the water across the fabric. A waitress approached, hesitant, almost fearful, offering a replacement seat far from the main floor. The implication was clear: move out of sight. Humiliation burned hotter than the chill of her wet clothes. She sat there, chest tight, trying to decide whether to leave or demand an explanation. The weight of every dismissive glance pressed harder, reminding her of countless other moments. Doors, held for others but slammed in her face. Questions about belonging in spaces she'd earned her way into. This was not new. Still, she waited. Her husband, Michael, was running late from a meeting. He had suggested this restaurant himself. She thought of calling him, but before she could, the door opened. His familiar figure stepped in, scanning the room until his eyes locked on her soaked, shaken form. Michael's stride shifted from casual to urgent in seconds. The room seemed to hold its breath as he reached her table, his gaze flicking from her drenched dress to the empty pitcher still, resting on the service station nearby. Without a word to Amara, he turned to the manager, his voice cutting through the air with controlled steel. What the staff didn't know was that Michael wasn't just Amara's husband. He was the CEO of the multinational firm that owned this very restaurant chain. The color drained from the manager's face as recognition dawned. Michael called for the regional director on speakerphone, right there in the dining room, detailing every moment. His words were precise, final. By the time he ended the call, the manager's employment, and that of those complicit, was over. The restaurant grew eerily quiet. Some patrons clapped softly, others looked away, uncomfortable with the raw display of accountability. Amara sat still, the sting of humiliation slowly giving way to a sense of vindication. But even with justice swift and public, the ache in her chest remained. This wasn't about a single act of cruelty. It was about the countless unspoken acts that people like her endured every day, unseen and unchallenged. Michael took her hand, his eyes softening. "This isn't the end," he murmured. And it wasn't. Not for them, and not for the fight against prejudice. One question lingered in the air for everyone watching. How many more times will it take before dignity is not something to be defended but respected? Which country and city are you watching from? Take care.